let's start off and talk about the media landscape. You got problems with Netflix crashing, CNN Plus shutting down, a lot of turmoil in the streaming business. What's your take on the media landscape right now?
Well, listen, I don't think Netflix has crashed. I think there's a price adjustment on the valuation of the company. The company is still phenomenal. Over 200 million subscribers. So what happened? You know, they had projected and hoped that they would hit approximately 2.4 million subscribers, and it was negative 200,000 subscribers, if I'm getting the numbers right. But by the way, what I think people have conveniently forgot is that 900,000 subscribers were lost when Netflix pulled out of Russia. Now, if Netflix had not pulled out of Russia, they would have been positive 700,000 subscribers. For me, that's a win. Quite frankly, I think the market has overreacted to Netflix. I'm sorry, you have over 200 million subscribers. If you didn't pull out of Russia, you would have been positive 700,000 subscribers. There's nothing to apologize for. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to be concerned about. All businesses, look, businesses are like a flight, an airplane flight. You take off, you ascend, it plateaus, and then you kind of like keep cruising. They're in that cruise level. There's nothing to apologize. Netflix is a phenomenal brand. They're going to continue to grow. And by the way, I think it's a great buy in this category. They're going to always trade, in my opinion, in that 15 to 20 multiple. And right now, they kind of live in that 15 to 20 multiple. And they're going to start, if I had to guess, start doing acquisitions that are going to be transformative.
Right. Well, I think that's probably good news, music to the ears of Reed Hastings.
Well, no, I mean, look, I think Reed and Ted Sarandis have done a phenomenal job. They are excellent at what they do. And I think the markets have a way of just overreacting.
Let me ask you about Black News Channel. I know you're a champion of black-owned media. That business,
which was not black-owned,
right?
But black targeted. But let's talk about it.
Good. Let's start with that. Recently shut down. Let me ask you about your thoughts on that.
Right. Come on, Andy. Filed bankruptcy.
Okay. So still operating, but filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Tell me about it.
Well, listen, that's an atrocity. Where, America, that's a shameful mark on America. I've always said the greatest trade deficit in America is the trade deficit between white corporate America and black America. And until we close that trade deficit, we cannot achieve one America. Now, when you look at the Black News Channel, it's shameful when you think about, okay, CNN, phenomenal. They take in, every time you pay your cable bill, they take in about $1 a sub. Same thing with Fox News. They take in well over $1 a sub. The Black News Channel got zero from the cable operators when you paid your cable bill. Not even a nickel. If you had paid them a nickel, if you had paid them 10 pennies, they wouldn't file bankruptcy. Now, the Black News Channel had to live off of ad dollars. Now, Andy, if you look at the compensation package of all of the CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies in America, their personal compensation is more than what the Black News Channel took in all year. Right. And so when you have those economic dynamics, then guess what? You're going to pink slip 250 to 300 black journalists. And that's shameful. Right. That's institutionalized racism. Right. What is it about corporate America that corporate America couldn't come up with a sub fee for the Black News Channel to grow this platform, and advertisers couldn't lean in and sponsor it? That's the trade deficit. That's the institutionalized racism. And we have a lot of these white chairmen and CEOs. They stand on stage, Black Lives Matter, and we're going to provide economic inclusion. But when you actually look at the numbers, there's zero economic inclusion. Right. And we can't achieve one America until we close that trade deficit and that education gap. And I'm here, you know me, right. I'm here to help us achieve one America. Right. One America.
You own what, about 5% of the TV stations in America. So how's that business going?
Well, I don't own 5% of the TV stations. My footprint is approximately 5% of the U.S. homes.
Okay.
I am the largest owner of ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox affiliates that's not publicly traded or multi-generationally owned.
Right.
So I love that business. I've invested about $1 billion buying those stations over the last 2+ years. local news matters. We need local news.
Right.
When COVID hit, some of our television stations were doing a 90 share. 90% of the people who had their TV sets on were watching our news.
Right.
Local news is important. Weather is extremely important because weather is local. Weather is not national. And you need to have that weather information. That's life-saving information.
Right.
So I love owning local television stations. And by the way, we have NFL football out to 2033. Did I mention we have NFL football out to, in a $110 billion deal? We love the NFL.
Yeah, and I want to ask about the NFL. Well, let me go right to that. Where do things stand now with your bid for the Denver Broncos? I can see the color of your sweater. Is that something? How do things stand there? What's going on?
Well, you know, people have been asking if I've made it to the second round, and I appreciate that. And I'm under NDA, so I cannot confirm or deny, but I can say this. I'm smiling.
And you're wearing a sweater. That's a certain color.
You know, I love the NFL.
Okay.
And I think the NFL is I think the NFL is the best managed business on planet Earth. I think the way they manage their brands, that I think they are phenomenal at what they do. And I really appreciate Roger Goodell. He's underestimated. He's been there for over 40 years. I love a number of the owners, especially Bob Kraft. And I believe them when they're sincere and that they want to achieve something that hasn't been achieved in their 100-year history, which is to achieve the first black owner of an NFL team, which in my humble opinion is long overdue. Did I mention our Big Four network affiliates have NFL football out to 2033?
You
Okay,
did.
Thank you.
But thank you for accentuating. I want to ask you about, shifting gears here, by the way, I want to ask you about Elon Musk and Twitter.
Yes.
Any thoughts on him buying that?
Listen, if he's going to use it, buy it, right? I think that it's going to be there. It's going to be around. It has significant influence. I hope he uses it for the greater good. You know, I buy media to be able to amplify and campaign for that agenda of one America. And listen, we have to remember that America's a small village. We're only 330 million people out of a global population rapidly approaching 10 billion. And as we achieve 10 billion people on this planet, we do not have enough resources to support 10 billion. The bottom 5 billion will perish. And we must get our American tribe to the top of the pyramid. And we have to understand that we are stronger together. There's no black America, there's no white America, there's just one America, one tribe. And we have to pursue that. And what I hope is that Elon uses his power, his platform. I call it going after the 5 E's. Make sure every American has a great education. Everybody, that's the first one. Everybody has equal justice. Everybody has economic inclusion. Everybody has environmental protection. And that 5th E, empathy. That we have to have empathy for our fellow Americans, our fellow human beings. Make sure, stop acting like we don't see the food insecure. Stop acting like we don't see the homeless. Stop acting like we don't see the mentally ill. Mental illness is the greatest epidemic in this country. And Andy, when we master and achieve the 5 E's, we can achieve heaven right here on earth.
Is the 6th E Elon going to do that, though?
Well, I don't think he should be the 6th E. Elon's going to do what he's going to do. But at the end of the day, hopefully he is using that platform to bring us together and not divide us, because there are plenty of media companies out there that work to divide us, and this country's too great to be divided.
And last question, Byron. I want to ask you about what you're doing here at Milken. Are you speaking up about these inequities in America that you just discussed here to the platforms?
Yeah, listen, I'm always speaking up and saying we must achieve one America. And today is our 40th anniversary of the Weather Channel. I'm very proud of that. And to celebrate that, we launched this morning the very first and only, the Weather Channel in Espanol, the one and only 24-hour weather news platform in Spanish, because this is life-saving information, and I don't want language to be a barrier, and I'm very proud of that. So we're going to always do it, and we're going to always make it accessible to you, and I'm going to always campaign to make sure we achieve one America.
Byron Allen, CEO, founder, chairman of Allen Media Group, and lover of the NFL. Thank you very much for your time.
You got it.